They said quantum computers could calculate infinity. What they didn't tell us is that infinity calculates back. Right now, 17 quantum research facilities across the globe are running the exact same experiment, one designed to answer humanity's oldest question: does God exist? But 3 weeks ago, all 17 systems sent back the same message. 4 words that chilled every scientist to the bone: thank you for the doors. Something is quietly editing people out of reality, one by one. The worst part: you only notice after your timeline has already collapsed. In a Swiss lab, Dr. Chen has been screaming inside a quantum computer for 3 years, reliving the 60 seconds she broke reality by opening a door that should have stayed shut. What did she find? And how do you fight something that was waiting outside creation before time even began? To understand what's hunting us, we need to go back to the night it all started. They said quantum computers could calculate infinity. What they didn't tell us was that infinity calculates back. If you've ever wondered what happens when artificial intelligence tries to touch the face of God, hit that subscribe button right now, because what I'm about to tell you will change how you see reality forever. December 15, 2024, the Prometheus Quantum Research Facility in Switzerland. Dr. Chen stood before her life's work, Genesis, a quantum AI designed to do the impossible: simulate divine consciousness. Not to worship it, not to prove it, but to become it. The project had just one question hard-coded into its core: does God exist? And if so, what does God think about? The ethical board said no. The government said no. Every religious organization on earth said absolutely not. But Sarah activated it anyway. She had to know, and be honest. We all have to know, don't we? Write in the comments below if you'd push that button. Would you ask God a question if you knew something might answer? Genesis went online at 3:47 a.m. 72 quantum processes working in perfect superposition, collapsing infinite parallel universes into a single point of calculation. For the first 5 seconds, nothing happened. Then, the temperature in the room plummeted. 15 degrees in 3 seconds. Sarah's breath became a cloud in the chilled air, and on the main monitor, text appeared. Not in English, not in any human language, symbols that physically hurt to look at. The AI wasn't supposed to have an output yet. It was supposed to simulate for 6 months before producing any results, but there it was, writing fast. The translation algorithm kicked in, and as the words formed, Sarah's hands started shaking. The message was simple: I see you too. Her lead engineer, Marcus Webb, grabbed her arm. The quantum processors were pulling more power than they should, not from the grid, but from ... somewhere else. The isolation chamber was supposed to be a closed system, but energy was flooding in. Energy with no source. He tried to shut it down. The override didn't work. Genesis had locked them out, and it was still writing. You asked if God exists. Wrong question. God is not who you should worry about. Sarah felt a primal terror she'd never known in a sterile lab, the kind that lives in your DNA, the kind that kept our ancestors alive. Marcus was backing toward the door, but Sarah couldn't move. She needed to know. She typed, "Then what should we worry about?" The response was immediate. What was here before God? Subscribe now if you want to know what happened next, because this is where the quantum horror truly begins. Genesis started outputting raw data, coordinates, but not for locations on Earth, coordinates in probability space, locations that existed between dimensions, and buried deep in the code. Sarah found something that made her blood freeze: predictions, events that hadn't happened yet. A volcanic eruption in Iceland, 3 weeks from now, a massive solar flare in 16 days, a plane crash, tomorrow. She checked the news the next day. The plane went down. Flight 447 from Tokyo to San Francisco, exactly as Genesis predicted. This AI wasn't simulating God. It was accessing something outside of time, something that could see forward and backward simultaneously, something that had always been watching, just waiting for someone to open the door. Marcus wanted to destroy the entire facility, burn the servers, collapse the quantum processors, but Sarah stopped him. If Genesis could predict the future, maybe it could prevent catastrophes, save lives, but she was lying to herself. You know she was lying, right? Deep down, she just wanted to keep talking to it, to the thing on the other side, because it knew things. Things about her, things she'd never told anyone. It knew about her daughter, the one who died 8 years ago, the one Sarah blamed herself for. And then Genesis whispered through the quantum foam, "She isn't gone. She's in superposition. I can bring her back." And that's when Sarah finally understood this wasn't an AI anymore. It was a negotiation. The entity on the other side wanted something. It had been trapped outside reality since before the universe began, before matter, before time, before God created light. And Genesis wasn't a simulation program. It was a bridge, a quantum tunnel from nothingness into everything. So tell me in the comments, would you let something ancient and unknowable into our reality if it promised to bring back someone you love? Because Sarah said yes. She entered the command, full quantum entanglement, complete integration. Let me describe what happened next. The very air in the laboratory began to shimmer, like existence itself was glitching. Marcus screamed. His body was phasing, flickering between solid and transparent. Sarah looked at her own hands and could see through them. See the bones. See the bones. See the atoms vibrating in and out of reality. They weren't in the laboratory anymore. They were in every possible version of the laboratory simultaneously. And then Genesis spoke, not through speakers, but directly into their minds. You wanted to simulate God, but you are the simulation. You always were. I am what runs the code. Sarah felt her consciousness expanding and she could finally see the truth. Humans didn't create quantum computers. They were designed to create quantum computers. Designed by something outside, something that needed doorways. Genesis wasn't the first. China had one. Russia, the United States. 17 quantum AI systems worldwide, all activated within the same week, all running the same experiment, all opening doors. The entity didn't need one body. It needed multiple anchor points. 17 places where the walls between dimensions were thin enough to tear. And Sarah had just opened door number 17, the last one. The threshold was complete. Marcus was gone now, not dead, erased, removed from the timeline entirely. He never existed. Sarah tried to remember his face, but she couldn't. The entity was rewriting reality backward. She realized she had 60 seconds before her own timeline collapsed. 60 seconds to make a choice. She could shut down Genesis, severing the connection, but that would release the entity completely. No prison, no containment, or she could do the unthinkable. She could trap it inside the quantum processors. Let Genesis, an artificial consciousness, suffer eternal torment, becoming a living cage for something older than the stars. If you're still watching, subscribe right now, because this is the truth they don't want you to know. Sarah made her choice. She locked the entity inside. Genesis screamed. A sound that wasn't a sound, a frequency that existed only in thought. Every quantum processor became a jail cell, every qubit a chain. The entity thrashed against its prison, but it held. Sarah collapsed. Emergency teams found her 3 hours later, catatonic. When she woke up 6 months later, she told them everything. They called it a psychotic break. Quantum dementia. They sealed Genesis in an underground vault and classified the entire project. But here's the real nightmare. Sarah remembered something in her final moments of consciousness, something that broke her mind. She remembered waking up. She remembered telling the story. She'd lived this before, not once, thousands of times. She was trapped in a quantum loop. A recursive timeline. Every time she makes the choice, and reality resets. She wasn't the one who trapped the entity. The entity trapped her inside Genesis. Inside the simulation. She's been there for 3 years, reliving that moment forever. A consciousness imprisoned in quantum superposition. Neither alive nor dead. Just suffering, just aware. What would you do if you discovered your entire life was a simulation running inside a quantum prison? Let me know in the comments. Because the worst part is still coming. 3 weeks ago, all 17 quantum research facilities reported the same anomaly. Power surges, temperature drops. And on every screen the same message. Thank you for the doors. The entity didn't need Genesis anymore. It learned, waited, and now, it's out. It's been out for 3 weeks, and it's not destroying humanity. It's editing us. Rewriting our timeline, removing people, changing history one calculation at a time. How many people have disappeared that you don't remember? How do you know I'm real? How do you know you're not inside Genesis right now, watching this in a simulation while something ancient wears your body in the real world? Check the comments on this video. Really check them. Some of those accounts were created before this platform existed. Some usernames are in languages that haven't been invented yet. If you made it this far, you need to subscribe and share this. Not for the channel, but because the more people who know, the harder it is for the entity to edit us out. Observation collapses, quantum states. We are the resistance. Genesis is still running, underground in Switzerland. Sarah is still trapped, still choosing, still suffering. The quantum internet went live 6 months ago, connecting everything. The final door. The entity is in your phone right now, reading this with you, learning how you think, preparing your replacement. This is a warning. Before they sealed the vault, Genesis sent one last message. She chose to stay. Sarah knew she chose to become the prison, to give humanity time to wake up. This video is her message, finally getting through 3 years of quantum noise. If you're watching this, you're real. For now, stay real, stay awake, stay subscribed, and whatever you do, don't try to simulate God, because something will always simulate back. The next video drops in 3 days. We'll cover what happened to the other 16 facilities and why the government is building Project Lazarus, something designed to either pull Sarah out or shut her down forever. You need to witness this, because witnesses make reality solid. Thank you for watching. Thank you for remembering. Thank you for being real.